Just J-U-N, June. I'm not sure who that is. A nice picture that I'm seeing there.
I'm Jerson's brother.
Oh, hi. I
Hello.
thought you looked a little bit like a younger version of Jerson, but I wasn't sure. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome each one of you to the Lents virtual church. We're going to continue with some announcements. And so, Jerson, I'd like to share the screen with others. So if you can switch gears for me on that. Let's see. As you can tell, I'm not really. Oh, what did you see something for those that are dialed in on the video?
Yes.
For the people who are dialed on the phone, you have to go by faith. There's a okay. So I just want to recap. I send out I hope each of you have a chance to take a look at the weekly newsletter, and then I send out updates during the week and try to keep you informed that way. So refer to the email for more details. But the church building, as we
over to you after I read it.
Oops, I think what you might do, let me do this. Why don't you put yourself on mute, and then at the end of the announcements before our family prayer, I'll see if there's any questions that I might be able to answer. How's that? I think that would probably be the most best way to do it. So go ahead and put us on mute, or put me on mute. Put me on mute, but listen to what I have to say. I don't know what that. So anyway, let's see. The church building and the LAC, as most of you know, are closed until further notice. Some of you may have been watching the news lately. Some of you have decided you may not want to watch the news, but the counties in Oregon are now, and this is Friday's message, I think, or some Thursday and Friday from the governor's office, counties are now able to apply to reopen in phase one. And I don't know a lot about what phase one is, and I'm not sure how the application process works, but I just heard this. And the Tri-County area, Washington, Clackamas, and Multnomah County, where the church is at, is it might take a while for that to all happen. And what are the determining factors? Are the medical services, staff and buildings and equipment and the personal protection equipment included in that? Are they all ready to go for this opening? Is the testing, and this is a big part of it, is the testing process set up in such a way that people can be tested, and those who may have come into contact with those with the virus, are they tracked, so that the whole goal, since this is a health pandemic, is to help make sure people are safe. So I will be attending a pastor Zoom meeting next Thursday about possible dates for reopening and the plan and the restrictions based on the latest news and statements that we received from the conference, Oregon Conference, and from the state and the county. And then there is our monthly church board meeting is later that night, Thursday at 6:30 on Zoom. And I will share with you what I have found out myself. And then next week during the announcements time, I hope to have some more information on that. So that's that piece of it. Connection teams, let's make the extra effort to call or text or correspond through mail, pray for one another. We can all be a part of the connection that keeps the unity of our church strong. Praise and prayer requests, we continue to share those praise and prayer requests. I continue to send out updates on that. And we use those updates in the prayer circles that we have at prayer meeting on Wednesdays and the Friday night prayer calls. And so that is an opportunity to just really remember that prayer is the work It's the most important work that we can do. Stewardship, tithes and offerings. Let's see. Whoops. There we go. Next slide is stewardship, tithes and offerings. Again, remember to set aside as you would in your old normal way of life, to set those aside so that when we're still physically apart, but we're working together to help the work of the church, local, conference, and worldwide church continue. A couple things. We do have expenses that continue at our local church, and we'll be going over that information at the board meeting. We also have subsidies at the schools and PACs. Had a wonderful outreach on Thursday afternoon this week when we were able to partner with the PACs organization and give away 25 very large boxes of food to church members, to community members, to folks who have connected with the church on that. So I'm very thankful that we can continue that outreach effort. And if you have, if you'd like to mail in your tithe and offering envelopes, like I mentioned last week, you can mail those in to the Oregon Conference, and the address is on the screen, 19800 Oakfield Road, Gladstone, Oregon, 97027. Put on your envelope, attention, Treasury, and then put Lents Seventh-day Adventist Church. And then the Treasury Department, all they're doing is holding on to those envelopes so that when our Treasury, members of our Treasury ministry go to the conference office, they'll actually pick it up at the ABC, because that's the place that they can access the folks. Then they will take them back and process them as usual. Remember to make out your checks to the Lents Seventh-day Adventist Church, not the Oregon Conference, so that your giving is accounted for as and appropriated as needed. So I also mentioned that we, the church board, is currently piloting a plan to set up Lents on Adventist online giving. So there's some of us on the board already that are using Adventist online giving. There's 2 cycles in the month, first of the month and the 15th of the month. And so our treasury team, led by Charles, is working through making sure that that's all functioning with a pilot group. So we're hoping to release more information to the congregation, and we'll have an update from Charles on Thursday on how that's all going. This week, the focus is disaster and famine relief, and next week is local church budget. And we usually have that local church budget twice a month. So that's that piece of it. Our weekly schedule is on the website, and our recordings of our Zoom meetings on our devotionals and AY and Sabbath School is also there. And you can see the weekly schedule is Wednesday, 7 o'clock is a midweek devotional. Carol is providing a devotional around this story of Elijah and how prayer is so vital to us and how we can learn from that. Then we have a prayer circle there. Friday, AY is providing some excellent programming for what's happening in the New Beginnings lessons. And so please join us on Friday at 6:30, and it follows with a prayer circle there. And then Sabbath, of course, we go through our Sabbath events with Sabbath School and church, online church of your choice at 11 and or about 11:15. This week it'll be Tom Evans, the director of Outreach Ministries, is sharing the message at the OregonAdventist.org church service. That also includes music and children's story. AY at 2 o'clock, Bible study at 5. And then there's a picture of our website, and that's where you can find out what you might have missed. So that's the end of the announcements before we go into our family prayer time. Let me now open it up and see if there's any questions about some of the announcements that have been shared so far.